It's pretty common for younger siblings to want to emulate an older brother or sister, especially if they're seen as successful or if these siblings are especially close. In today's story, the older sibling was successful and was very close to the younger sibling. In fact, the older sibling was so close to the younger one that when the junior sibling went missing, the elder one took matters into their own hands when the investigation seemed to be faltering. This is the mysterious disappearance of Lee Porter, the investigation into her disappearance, and the actions taken by her brother Max when he felt things were going nowhere. This is the case of Lee Porter, and this is Murder of Crows. In 1994, in Pueblo, Colorado, young Max Porter was eagerly awaiting the birth of his younger sibling. He was very excited to be a big brother. When Lee Porter was born on the 28th of December that year, Max was overjoyed to have a younger sister, and this grew into an unbreakable bond of closeness. As they grew, they were each other's best friend. And when the younger Porter made up silly dances and routines, the older brother pretended reluctance but loved to join in. With only a few years between them, they had similar circles of friends as they grew into themselves. When Max graduated from Florence High School, he chose to study massage therapy. Inspired by Max and wanting to stay close to her rock, she not only followed him to the same college, she chose the same course of massage therapy. On the whole, things were looking very, very good for the Porter siblings. But the wheels would fall off for Lee when Max graduated and moved away for a job in California. The absence of her safe place and the breakup of a relationship at around the same time left her feeling desolate and isolated. Her mother, Renee Jackson, noticed a change in her daughter around this time. Lee went from joyful and comical to sullen and withdrawn. Without her brother/best friend to stabilize her, Lee seemed to lose all direction. She dropped out of college, and the coping strategy she chose, in keeping with someone fragile who always had her brother to protect her in the past, was drugs, and specifically heroin, the ultimate short-term gain and long-term pain. Such was the closeness between the Porter siblings that Lee actually confided in her brother regarding her turning to the dark side of drugs and her desire to turn things around and get back on track. A notoriously difficult task to undertake, especially with heroin. But with her brother so far away, Lee desperately needed some support that was geographically closer. This was when a guardian angel appeared on the scene. Chris Wade went to the same high school as Lee and Max, and seemed to be committed to supporting Lee to get off drugs. But Max and Lee's mother Renee had serious reservations about Wade's intentions. Wade was in college and was studying criminal justice. Renee noticed that there was an increase in Wade's Facebook activity towards Lee. He would like and comment on most of her posts and acted as if they were beginning a romantic relationship. Although Max knew of Wade in passing, he was skeptical about the relationship he claimed he had with Lee. He didn't seem to be someone Lee would hang out with, let alone date. And also, Wade claimed to be an old school friend, but the Porter siblings barely knew Wade back then and were even less acquainted with him now in 2014. Whatever the reservations her family had, Lee still decided to visit Wade in Westminster, Colorado, where Wade was attending college, and this was on June the 3rd, 2014. After this date, dozens of calls from both Renee and Max went unanswered. Renee called Wade because she knew he was the last person to see her. Wade told her that she left the same day that she had arrived. He said that Lee had received a message late that night and was picked up by someone in a white truck. But Lee's family knew that despite her struggles, she wouldn't just go off without letting someone know. So Max and Renee knew he wasn't being truthful, and so they called the Westminster police and told them that Wade was the last person to see her. When police brought him in for questioning, he gave them the same story he had told Renee, but added a couple more details, saying they had gone to Boston Market to grab some dinner, then went back to his apartment where they talked and played video games. Shortly after that is when Lee left in the white truck. Police found her car full of her belongings from college in the parking lot of the apartment complex that Wade lived in. They searched the car and tried processing it for blood and DNA, but they came up empty in all regards. There was no sign of a struggle in or around the car, and nothing seemed to be missing. But rather than clamming up or just disappearing, Chris Wade was active in trying to find Lee and was very cooperative with the police.
Texting her, I tried calling her, left her some messages on Facebook, and haven't heard anything back from her.
However, when the police started digging into Wade's past, they found some disturbing information. He had been discharged from the army for one particular violent admission. It was said that police discovered the reason for his discharge was because Wade had told psychiatrists that in high school he tried to rape and murder a girl, but was scared away by one of the girl's family members who he didn't know was at the home. Big brave boy. More disturbing revelations occurred when police searched Wade's apartment. They found blood spots that had been cleaned up with bleach, one of which was on Wade's mattress. Police also found searches on his computer for child porn and other violent sex sites. They even discovered a large number of women's panties that Wade said he preferred to wear because they were more comfortable, as you do. But there was nothing concrete and nothing directly linking Wade to Lee's disappearance. And nothing was found even when Wade was placed under 24-hour surveillance. There was plenty that was suggestive or a bit suspect, but not enough to warrant charges being placed and an arrest made. Feeling very frustrated, Max decided to use his personal links to Lee's past to start his own investigation by talking to other high school alumni who knew Wade at the time, to build up a better picture of who Wade was as a person behind the Good Samaritan exterior he was showing the world. It was through doing this he was told about the journals that Wade would keep, that detailed sadistic rape and violent fantasies with female sex slaves. It seemed that Wade was, in technical terms, a bit of a prick with a definite dark side. But Max had a plan. Rather than beat Wade to a pulp, he instead spent time building up rapport with Wade and developing a friendship of sorts, which, in fairness, was remarkable restraint and commitment by Max, who desperately wanted answers. Max learned that Wade was obsessed with tarot cards and asked him if they could meet for a reading, telling him that he hoped it could solve the disappearance. Wade agreed to meet him at a park and was happy to do it. During the reading, Max kept asking Wade what happened to his sister, and Wade insisted that he didn't know. But Max persisted and eventually got Wade to tell him what happened that night.
I turned, grabbed her, then stepped forward and twisted her around so that her body was in between me and the knife. Then I placed my hand at her throat. I didn't start squeezing until after she kept going. I told her, "Drop the knife,
How long did you
please."
squeeze her throat? Until what happened?
I thought that her muscles would relax when she went unconscious, and that I could gradually move the knife away and let her go and let her regain consciousness, but that didn't happen.
I think I'm just gonna let you walk away and drive away? You killed my sister. No, give me away. Give me away from
Wade said they went to Boston Market, as he'd said, then back to his apartment where they had sex, which was a fact that Max did not remotely believe, but obviously he didn't say so. After that, Lee began demanding money from Wade for drugs, and when he refused, she pulled a knife on him. That's when Wade put Lee in a chokehold in hopes that she would drop the knife. When she finally released the weapon, she had fallen unconscious. Wade thought she would regain consciousness, but she never did. Now, Max doubted elements of the story, but was relieved to have a confession of sorts. But the relief came later. His first reaction to the revelation was rage. Max jumped over the table and landed a couple of punches on Wade. His friend said that he had to pull him off. Now, I'm lucky enough to have some good friends, but none as yet have pulled me off. Maybe I should change my deodorant or something. Max informed Wade that he had been recording the whole conversation. Wade said he would go confess to the police, but Max held him there and called 911, making sure Wade admitted to the murder and did not try to flee.
Yes, I'd like to confess to a murder.
Okay, what happened?
The case is for the disappearance of Lee Porter.
The police still had Wade under surveillance at this point, so they reacted very quickly to Wade's confession and turned up within moments to arrest the cockwomble. He was originally charged with first-degree murder, sexual assault, evidence tampering, and also received charges for the child porn found on his computer. Instead of facing all the charges, Wade agreed to plead guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for leading authorities to Lee's body. And this plea deal offered to Wade made Lee's family extremely angry.
The family of a murdered teenager is saying tonight the punishment does not fit the crime. Their daughter was murdered last summer. And this man, Christopher Wade, says he's the one who killed her, and he took a plea deal today. Well, 7 News reporter Jennifer Kowaleski is live in Adams County, and Jen, the family is not happy with that deal.
And Lee Porter's family has been waiting for justice for more than a year. They wanted her killer to spend life in prison and were disappointed that he's only getting 48 years. 19-year-old Lee Porter disappeared last summer. A week later, police arrested Christopher Wade and charged him with her murder after he confessed to Porter's own family. Lee and Wade went to high school together and had reconnected on Facebook. She drove from Pueblo to visit him in Westminster. Wade told police he dumped her body in a dumpster. Investigators searched this Brighton landfill for more than 40 days, but never found her body. One of the main reasons the DA says they took the plea.
And anytime you don't have a body in a homicide leaves the question as to not only what the cause of death was, but whether or not there is a death.
We have no place to go and visit Lee. We don't know where she is. And all we know is that she's dead.
Wade pled guilty to second-degree murder and child sex exploitation. He must serve at least 75% of his 48-year sentence before he's eligible for parole. Reporting live in Adams County tonight, Jennifer Kowaleski, 7 News.
It should have been stated that Wade would only be eligible for the deal when and if Lee's body was recovered, as after Wade revealed that Lee had been placed in a dumpster, police searched the landfill for 40 days, only finding Lee's possessions and not her body. Family and law enforcement believe Wade was lying about where he put her body and that he was continuing to offer false leads. The police theorized that he killed Lee after she denied his sexual advances. To this day, her body has never been found. Lee's memory is kept alive through a Facebook page set up by her mother, Renee Jackson. And scrolling through the posts, it seems that the page is now a mix of raising awareness for other missing people, along with something of a catharsis for Renee, with regular updates of photos and memories of a life taken far too soon. The offered sentence for Wade was 48 years, and this stood even though Lee's remains had not been recovered. It is a heavy sentence, but has justice been done? I'd love to know your thoughts on the plea deal and in fact this whole situation, so pop them down there and I'll have a glance. At the time that she was killed, Lee Porter certainly had her demons that she was trying to overcome. But she was still a young lady who trusted a friend who claimed he was trying to help her. Max and Renee have been left bereft by the loss of a girl that meant so much to them. Her value to them was incalculable, and the fact that Wade claimed to have left her in a dumpster speaks volumes for how much she meant to Wade. This video is of course dedicated to the gorgeous and loving girl who claimed that her big brother Max was her hero. After she mysteriously disappeared, Max proved to everyone that he really was a hero. But it was cold comfort for the man who took his role as his sister's protector very seriously. I just hope that in the decades since his sister's murder, he has been able to navigate his grief and cut himself some slack. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. CrimeCon Glasgow was astonishingly good, and I'm hoping to put up a montage video on YouTube soon, with other pictures up on the Murder of Crows socials. And with that said, I'm Steve, this here is Samson, and we will see you when we see you.